Good morning, friends. Welcome back to the workshop here at Mark Kelly Farm. We've got a project we're going to do today for my buddy Carl. He's a local cattle rancher up the road here. We're going to build him some tree swallow boxes, and we'll tell you why. But let's get with this. It's going to be fun times. So some of the local ranchers, instead of dumping chemicals all over the backs of their cows nowadays, are putting up what's called tree swallow boxes. A tree swallow is a bird, and that bird will eat over 8,000 insects a day, mainly flies and mosquitoes. So a lot of local ranchers are getting these tree swallow boxes, and they're putting in, they say, every 100 feet, so all along their fence line, which will bring in these tree swallows to nest and generate new tree swallows, obviously. So there's certain dimensions and stuff you need to go by. We've got all that. We've got some wood, and we're going to get this party started. We picked up some 1x6 cedar while we were in town the other day. One 6-foot board will make one house. We have 4 6-foot boards. We're going to make a couple houses for my friend Carl. And then we're even going to make a couple for here on the homestead to help with our insects here. So the first pieces we're going to cut is our side pieces, because our side pieces are cut at an angle. We're going to go with a 10-degree angle on those. Okay, we've cut off all 4 of our boards. So now we put our saw back at 0 degrees and cut our other pieces off of the main board. So now we're going to cut our front pieces, and you can see because of the 10-degree slope of the roof, we're going to have to cross cut at an angle. So we've got our saw tilted at 10 degrees now. Now this piece is 9.5 degrees from here to here. So our front piece from the long point of the angle will have to be 9.5 inches from here to the long point. So you can see there how our angle comes together. Now the other thing you want to pay attention of, because especially if you've got wood that's got one rough side, one smooth side, pay attention to which side you want out when you're cutting your angles. Okay, now that we've got all 4 of our fronts cut, we're going to cut our roof. Our roof is going to be 9.5 inches long point to short point. It's going to be the same 10 degrees. We've already got 10 degrees on all of our boards, so all we got to do is measure 9 inches and then cut, and then our angles will be the same. You don't have to put angles on the roof right here. Those could be straight, not a big deal. But since we already got them, it looks cleaner, we might as well do it. So now we're going to cut our centerpiece on the inside, which will be, of course, 5.5 to match the side. But the other dimensions has to allow for the 2 outside boards. So we got to cut 1.5 inches shorter that direction. So it'll be 5.5 by 4. So this is what left we have of our boards. We just leave the 10-degree angle out here. We'll use it later for the back, for this top part right here. So we'll cut our piece. There's going to be enough wood left over for any mistakes we might make, or if the wood split, we'll be able to cut part of that off. The 6-foot boards allow for that. So after we cut our pieces, trimmed up our end pieces to get some of the bad wood gone, we have about 19 inches or so that we're going to use for the backboard. It'll hang down so you can attach it. I'll leave you an attachment point there. So we've got to do a little work to some of these pieces. Got to drill drain holes in all of our bottom boards. And now we need to drill our opening, our door opening for our birdhouse. We've got 1.5 inch Forstner bit, which is the size hole you want to drill for these type of birds. And the bottom of the hole needs to be 5.5 inches from the top of the floor. Remember, the floor is going to go up a little bit. So the way I've got this set up, I've got it where it needs to be on this top board. I just flushed the bottom of 2 boards here, making sure the angles are correct on this side. Once I drill through this top board, which will help the tear out having this board underneath, it's going to mark the board underneath. So once this board is drilled, we'll pull it off. We'll put a new board underneath this board, which is already marked, drill the next one, and so on and so on. So you can see this board's drilled all the way through with very little tear out on the back, and our next one's marked. For our last board, we just used one of our scrap pieces underneath. Next process we want to do is we want to put some grooves in here in the inside of the box for the little birds when they get little, kind of use as a ladder to kind of get up and look out the hole. We put a block here to put this at an angle because otherwise the blade would not be cutting in the middle. It'd be cutting off the one side. But we'll probably put floor in here. We'll show you what that looks like. We'll just bring the saw down and buzz a few, just like that. So the next process is easiest done on the table saw, and we've got one, so we might as well use it, but you could use a skill saw just setting the depth and scribing the line. The high side of our roof, when it rains, we don't want the water to run down the bottom of the roof and get into the box. So we're going to cut a relief cut like this, so when the water comes down, it won't be able to bridge that gap and it'll drip down. Our roof is going to be hanging over 1 inch, so we went a 1/2 inch in for our little relief cuts there. Just like that. So the final process on our sides, half of our sides, we need to cut about a 1/4 inch short. So what that will do, it's going to leave a 1/4 inch gap up top for ventilation. And then it's also going to allow us to put 2 screws in the side to allow this side to swing out. So we have to pair up our boards, and I want to do the left-hand side of the box if you're looking at the front. So we will do all those left sides. We'll cut about a 1/4 inch off the bottom. That way the bottom will be flush when we put it together. So all of our pieces are done, and this is what our birdhouse profile looks like right here, minus the side that we're going to hinge. So we're going to start putting this thing together. We're going to use our 1.5 inch air nailer and some glue to put these together. This is all natural cedar, so we're not going to put any kind of finish on it. And then once we get all these pieces together, we'll measure this straight across. That way the screws are the same height and it pivots straight. And we'll get this last piece mounted, and we'll show you how we lock that shut once we're done. As we put this thing together, we're using our last side just as a spacer to get our correct width up here on the top, because that can move a little bit on that end. Got our birdhouse nailed together. We put our last side in place. We scribed the line straight across. If you don't want that to show, I recommend you do that on the inside. But we drilled an 1/8 hole on each side straight in, and then added 2-inch screws. So now when we want to clean our box out in the early spring, you just flip that side open, rake all your debris out of there, and then close her back up. Now we don't want this opening for any reason, so I'll show you how we do that. So you take a drill bit just a little bit bigger than a duplex nail, which these are used for concrete forms. You drill it in at an angle like this, so gravity keeps it in, and then you shove your nail in the hole there, and that locks your door. So our air nailer we use just for rough putting this thing together. So now what I'm going to go through and do on the parts that aren't moving like this, we're going to go ahead and add some screws as well, because screws hold better than nails for the long run, and that'll keep everything nice and tight. All right, there's our box, folks. Looks pretty sharp. It's going to work well. I think Carl's going to like it. So I'm going to get the rest of these boxes thrown together, and then I got to go inside and make a gift for a function. We may do a video on that. But hope you enjoyed our little project here making these tree swallow boxes. We're hoping it cuts down a lot on the insects around here. Mosquitoes and the flies. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. We love you guys. Come back and see us here at the farm. We're always doing something.